Age of Gods Online, otherwise known as AGO, combines the age-old system of browser-based, massively multiplayer online game with the catchy action gameplay popularized by gaming consoles. Launched in 2019, it takes full advantage of the rise of mobile gaming to deliver an enjoyable, fully immersive, massively multiplayer online game that allows any user to play the game regardless of hardware specifications or gaming platforms. All one needs to play the game is just an internet connection and a platform that can open web browsers. Due to aggressive marketing strategy and their catchphrase, "You are not playing a god, you are a god," their player base skyrocketed to 200,000 players in just a week. An impressive feat for a company renowned for making mediocre games in the past. Foul servants of the evil god. I, Guardian of the Forge Maristes, shall halt your advance. The hammer-wielding woman in fire-resistant coat announced before dozens of premium soldiers delivered blow after blow on her small body. Despite her great skills and the honor granted as Guardian of the Forge, not even she could handle the attacks from 100 premium soldiers. Left with not being able to perform her main attack, she could only defend herself with her oversized hammer. Suddenly, from behind, a blade of light swept up the enemies around her. The blade of light cut cleanly through their bodies, cutting off their source of life. With that blow, they returned to their original forms, armored statues imbued with life at their god's commands. Too far. You die. A mechanical voice came out of the suit of armor that came up behind Maristes. It was the mechanical knight Alu, the only living armor crafted by the hands of its goddess, Aelrea of the Divine Arms. Everyone, do not allow them to advance any further. Even if you die, you will stop them here. Hirion, keep the premium dragon occupied. Aerie, I will need you to sacrifice yourself to stop the blood corona, Aelrea of the Divine Arms commanded. Just like her heroes, even she had suffered multiple wounds, mostly from having to deal with the siege weapon blood corona. Without minding her wounds, she said to herself, "If only Guardy is here. He would be able to deal with those pesky blood coronas easily." It was because Spear Master Guardy was armed with Spear that drills the universe, an SS-class item that ignored all defense, physical or magical. Yes, my lord. Come, my trusty steed. Pegasus Knight Hirion flew to the sky, riding atop her mount, the silver Pegasus. For the goddess. Forge Master Aerie ran towards a throng of premium soldiers before jumping to the air and throwing her twin storm hammers at the concentration of blood coronas, weapons capable of leveling whole cities if given the chance. As the goddess wish. Taste my hammer. Foul creatures. Forge of a sun. Guardian of the Forge Maristes cried as the head of her hammer became a brilliant ball of light. As the ball of light smashed against the ground, everything within the range of 2 miles turned to ash. Command accepted. Will comply. Mechanical Knight Alu rushed forward. Its thick armor became the hammer that smashed against all the premium soldiers in its way. Its multiple gun ports fired on multiple targets at the same time, while its flaming missiles scorched miles of land. While this was going on, Aelrea pulled up her inventory. She planned to trade the lives of her heroes to summon her 2 premium items, the Premium Wyverns and the Premium Flame Dragon. Unfortunately, before she could use either, a single blade cut off her neck from behind. I've been waiting for you to send your heroes away. Too bad, Serena. It's my win this time. Ah. Serena had to fight the urge to throw her phone to the floor. She had just lost a battle against Uckler, the Scourge of Blood, and she feared this had kicked her out of a deathmatch, despite having a lot of cash items still unused. The idea of losing all the premium jewels and items she just bought yesterday annoyed her to no end. Damn you, Steve. There should be a rule against using so many cash items in one battle. Bloody RMT scum, she cursed. RMT refers to real money transaction, in which players spend real-world money to get ahead in an MMOG. RMT scum refers to the type of players who rely on RMT to be on top. To be fair, Serena had no right to find fault in Uckler's method. After all, she too was an RMT scum right up to her defeat. An incoming message chimed as she was contemplating how best to pay Uckler, the Scourge of Blood, otherwise known as Steve Wise, for this latest humiliation. Mark, congratulations. Serena, about what? Mark, for getting to top 5. Serena, but I just lost. Mark, St. Claus was killed about a minute before Uckler killed you. So now St. Claus is kicked from the game, and you're locked at 5th rank. Serena, St. Claus was behind me? God, that gives me the creeps. Mark, you're still not creeped out about him asking for your picture, didn't you? Serena, of course I'm still creeped out. He asked for my picture the moment he found out I was schoolgirl. Mark, LOL, well anyway, I wonder how the devs are going to run the game now. Heard you guys will be transported to a smaller area to encourage conflict. Serena, where did you hear this? Mark, Dev Diary. They said the game will be in lockdown until Sunday to manage the updates. Serena, you sure? Mark, yes, very sure. You can check it yourself. Serena, maybe later. I'm still at school. Mark, detention. Serena, any other reason I'd still be at school this late? Mark, LOL, how about we go on a date this Saturday? Your exams are already over, right? Serena, you got a job yet? The silence went on for 4 whole minutes. Mark, all right, give me another lecture. My heart is ready. Serena, I already told you I won't go on a date with an unemployed man. You want another date? Get a job. Mark, but I do have a job. I'm a full-time gamer, Serena. A job that makes money. I don't even mind if you get a job as a street vendor. If you want a date, make your own money, not wasting your parents' money. Bit rich coming from someone who spends her allowance like water. A girl spoke behind Serena, making her jump on her chair. Alice, since when were you behind me? Serena asked with a bit of fluster. Alice grinned as she said, a few minutes. You were too busy chatting with your boyfriend to notice. That shut-in is not my boyfriend. Oh, really? Then why do you look so happy every time you reply to his messages? You know this. You're freaking blind, Alice. Oh, he replies, Alice said, as she chuckled at Serena, snapping her head around to look at the screen. Mark, but if I become a street vendor, you'll be too embarrassed to be seen with me. Serena, excuse me. My father's first job was a roast bean street seller. My mom's first job was a shop assistant. Daddy made it very clear that no job is shameful while I was growing up. You were there during such lectures. How do you expect me to introduce you as whatever to my parents when you don't have a job? Ooh, you're already at that level. Alice teased with a giggle. Go away, Alice, Serena said in annoyance while shooing Alice away with her left hand. Sorry, no can do. I want to borrow your phone, Alice said while looking slightly embarrassed. What happened to yours? Confiscated. Mom said I played Agio too much. That's why I'm ranked at 23. I wasn't able to play. Mark, if I get a job, will you go out with me? Serena, get a job first, then we'll talk. Mark, got it. Here, Serena said as she handed her phone to Alice. Thanks. I know I can count on you. Alice said as she logged into Agio Sandbox. How was the boyfriend? Alice asked while her finger danced on the surface of Serena's phone. He's not my boyfriend, Serena denied while looking out the classroom window from her seat. Oh, so that's the setting, huh? Older neighbor boy, fallen hard, and a young girl who's in denial. I'm not in denial. I'm just helping him get back on his feet, Serena argued without looking at Alice. By being his girlfriend? Alice asked, her eyes locked on the screen and her fingers busy tapping everywhere. If it's necessary. Yeah, it's not like you're in love with him or anything, right? Right. Alice chuckled. Yeah, it's not like that shut-in who smells bad, rarely change clothes, lives in a dumpster and dash. Don't diss Mark? But you don't love him. So, what's the big deal? I'm the only one who can talk smack about him. You can't. Oh, possessive much. Whatever, just put it back in my bag after you're done with it. I'm catching up on sleep, Serena said as she buried her face in her arms on the desk. Yes, yes, Your Highness, Alice said, as she used up the accumulated faith in the sandbox to stick some guard towers at her border. You know, it's really sad that detention is just another word for nap time, considering the teachers don't even bother to watch us. All right, I'm done. Hear you. Serena. Alice looked behind her, at Serena's seat, which was empty of all life and presence. "Are you sleepwalking again?" Alice asked the empty chair. Serena slowly opened her eyes to the sound of chirping birds. A sharp ray of sunlight hit her eyes, causing her to squint before her brain woke up and the realization hit her. She sat up, thinking it was the next day and cursing Alice for not waking her up yesterday. But then, she realized something else instead. She was sitting in bed, in a room made of wooden walls. Not just any wooden walls, but log walls. The kind of walls you often see in Western cowboy movies. She looked around her. Above her was a roof made of long grass woven together. The wall on her right had an open window right in the middle, allowing her to see a garden where bean-like plants were being cultivated. Under that window was a bed made of wood, with stitched for covering the straw seen poking out underneath it. Right in front of her was a wooden door, crudely crafted from planks nailed together. Serena considered it such a bizarre sight that she concluded she was dreaming. After all, she took a nap in her classroom, so she couldn't have ended up in a place so bizarrely different. She thought it was possible that she was kidnapped, but if that was true, she would have been tied up when she woke up. Convinced that she was dreaming, she went back to sleep. "Hello," a voice broke through her dream. Serena opened her eyes slightly. Through her half-lidded eyes, she spied a young girl, not much older than herself. She had shoulder-length dark brown hair, slightly wide mouth to be considered pretty, tan skin, and an oval face. But what was most striking about her was her eyes. It was red, like a ruby placed by a skilled jeweler in the center of egg white. Serena imagined the girl's eyes would glow in the dark if light shone at it. It reminded her of her avatar in AGO, Aelrea of the Divine Arms. She had the same red eyes, too. It reminded her of the Micra race that she, as the goddess Aelrea, created as her kin in AGO. But that couldn't be the case. A go was a game. The girl in front of her looked very real. Serena pinched her thigh, winced in pain, and figured she was probably not dreaming. So by process of elimination, she came to a different conclusion. This girl is an albino, she thought. She completely ignored the girl's dark brown hair and tan skin. Hi there. I bring you breakfast," the girl said. Only now Serena realized the girl was carrying a plate in her right hand and a mug on her left. She had been too mesmerized by the girl's beautiful red eyes that shined like expensive ruby to notice anything else. While the girl crossed the short distance to the table beside her bed, she placed both her burden on the table under Serena's watchful eyes. "Eat up. I know it's not much, but I'm sure you can appreciate a warm meal after your perilous journey." "Perilous journey? Didn't you come from outside the valley? Grandpa found you collapsed by the side of the road on his way home from Ricius Watchtower." "Valley? Could it be? You don't realize where you are?" Seeing Serena's confused face, the girl said, "You're home." "Pardon?" Serena asked. In her mind, she thought this was certainly not her home. The Crimson Valley, the land that hero Los Rios tried to lead the Micra to. Oh wait, since you're a lost hammer, you probably grew up hearing its original name, Valley of Snakes, instead. Certainly, Serena has heard the name Los Rios and Valley of Snakes before. However, putting both phrases in one breath brought into mind a possibility that she couldn't believe could be real. Added to the fact that the girl admitted that her people were called the Micra, it could only bring her to one conclusion. A conclusion which was simply impossible, not even in fairy tales. So, of course, Serena was in denial. "Are you messing with me?" Serena asked with suspicion. "No, this really is the Promised Land. It is the Valley of Snakes that the hero Los Rios said was prepared by Goddess Aelrea for us. He brought us here following our time of great need." "What nonsense is this? I never did anything like that. Wait, this means... Oh man, I'm getting a headache." Serena indeed knew of a Los Rios, but that was in AGO. Los Rios was none other than one of her hero units. Serena had other hero units as well, such as Pegasus Knight Herion and Guardian of the Forge Marists. They fought Uckler together with her before she died, and she could only assume they died too afterward. Sword-brave Los Rios was the strongest of them all, and thus Serena, as Aelria, decided to equip him with an S-class weapon that she created specifically for him, the Cursed Blood Forge. It was a blade of immense power that had consumed the souls of its users to become stronger. She then sent him on a long-term quest to defeat one of the players from the Theocracy of Lyrica, so he was too far to be recalled when Uckler the Scourge of Blood invaded the Aelrian mountain range. Los Rios was deep in enemy territory, accompanied by only a handful of skilled Micras and a company of collision mercenaries. They were in a place called the Valley of Snakes. According to the girl, this place was called the Valley of Snakes once. If one were to assume that the game had somehow become a reality, that meant this was the place. If the game had become reality, then it would be safe to assume that just like this girl before her, Los Rios had also gained sentience. That idiot probably misunderstood my reasoning for ordering him to come here. He probably thought I sent him here to invade it for the Micra's future settlement. I actually gave him that quest because the player who owned this land was weak. Oh, Los Rios, there should be a limit to your usefulness. Serena was impressed at herself for creating such a resourceful minion. The actual reason she sent Los Rios to the Valley of Snakes was not to take the valley for her use, but to raise Lazrios' level by defeating a weak god. Then, when he would be a lot stronger, she'd kill his character and have his soul consumed by the blade, which was forged with the trait of sacrifice. This would hopefully raise the blade's level from S-class to SS-class. How could she have known he would misunderstood her intentions? Didn't your parent teach you? The girl asked again. Pardon. Serena almost forgot about this girl standing next to her bed. Didn't your parents teach you about the Valley Snakes? Even if you're a lost hammer, you must have heard them talk about it, right? You kept talking about lost hammer. Is that some kind of insult or something? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it that way. It's just what we call the Micras who have never set foot inside the Crimson Valley. What did you say? We call people like you Lost Hammer because dash. No. Did you just call me a Micra? Aren't you? What are you other than a Micra? Your red eyes that shine like ruby is telling enough. Wait. My eyes are red. I'm a normal girl. My eyes are blue. But the real proof is in your blood, the girl said as she touched Serena's hand. Hey, overly friendly girl. Just because I'm sitting in bed doesn't mean you can touch me so casually. The girl wrapped her fingers around Serena's, causing jolts of energy to pass through the palm of Serena's hand, up to her arm, then into her heart. As if in response, a stronger jolt then fired out of Serena's heart and transmitted through their linked hands into the girl. Both of them reacted to that pulse of energy in different ways. And no. The girl moaned while making a blissful face that could easily be misunderstood as something lewd. As for Serena, she made a muffled moan and panted while thinking, I didn't know I swing that way too. What was that? The girl asked while panting. How would I know? That was amazing. I never knew another girl could make me feel this way. You must be someone talented. This can't be real. I can't be bent. I've never felt something so wonderful. AI, it seems like life is not so straightforward as I'd like to believe. I think if you work hard, you can even be a master craftsman. I may need to redefine my sexuality. With your talent, I think you have a shot. What have you made so far? Excuse me? Were you talking to me? Who else is here? I thought you were talking to yourself. What were you saying just now? I said your magic is so strong, you probably have the talent to become a master crafter. That pulse of energy just now was proof. All Micra can exchange energy that way, but your energy was amazing. You mean that feeling just now, it wasn't love? Love. Why would you suddenly ask that? Thank God. I thought I've become a lesbian. Serena breathed a sigh of relief. Yes, thank Goddess Aelria for your talent. There are many magic crafters from the hamlet, but you're far above them. You must be blessed. I think you should join the crafters competition this year. One thing at a time, my excited tanned, acquaintance. What do I call you? Oh, sorry, I was too excited. I forgot my manners. My name is Ina. Serena, Serena introduced herself. She entertained the thought of introducing herself as Aelrea, but considering Aelrea was the Micra's goddess, they probably wouldn't take kindly to someone using their goddess's name. Even though she was Aelrea in the game, they'd probably expect her to perform some kind of miracle, which Serena had no idea how to do at the moment. Then, Serena, let me be the first to welcome you to Clear River Hamlet. We're home, Ina announced as she put her basket on the floor beside the door. Welcome back, Ina and Grandpa Luz. Did you get anything good today? Serena asked while sweeping the dirt floor. We got lots of iron ingots, rubies, and diamond fragments. We got a good deal on the ruby, but iron was a bit more expensive than usual, Ina answered, looking a bit depressed. Are they all for crafting? Serena asked while looking at the ingots and gem fragments in the basket. Yes, but there isn't much profit in making amulets and accessories these days. That's because everyone's making the same things nowadays. Too much supply, and not enough people buying them. To make matters worse, the Khalees merchant only comes once a month and only brings 2 wagons. Serena knew of the Khalees, of course. Back in the game, the Khalees were the minions of Iklis the Mother Goddess, 3rd in ranking. Iklis herself was weak and offered no challenge one-on-one. The only problem fighting her one-on-one was due to the fact that she had an annoying unique ability to spawn strong but short-lived Khalees minions every 5 seconds. So it was never truly one-on-one. What made Iklis truly formidable, though, was her minions, the Khalees. It was often said that Iklis showered all her love towards her minions. One can even call them the chosen of God, their god, at least. The Khalees, also called children of Iklis, looked no different from a normal human. However, that was the only similarity. The Khalees were stronger, more athletic, and more capable than a normal human side by side. They could also learn and cast any magic available to Iklis. Even divine magic was possible for the Khalees. They were the kind of race that had only advantages and not even a single weakness. In fighting Iklis, the fighter must finish the battle quickly, as Khalees, as a race, has a telepathic link to Iklis. The moment they sensed Iklis in danger, whole cities would leave everything behind and attempted to save Iklis. Serena remembered the only time she fought Iklis. She remembered the notifications popping up one after another as her whole region map started being filled with hostile Khalees from all directions. Within minutes, her whole region map was almost completely filled by hostile Khalees. As the red dots representing hostile units approached within 10 miles of her battleground, she fled the scene and had to sacrifice the Micras who went to battle with her. Serena still had shivers every time she recalled that battle. Then why not make something else? Serena asked. Something else? Such as what? Grandpa Luz asked. Serena thought it was strange that they hadn't thought about it. They were Micras, after all. Crafting was their forte. It was in their blood. Micras had no value other than their crafting skills. They had strength 7 out of the maximum 20, but strength alone couldn't win battles. The only reason that Serena's Micra army could stand toe-to-toe with the other races was their high-quality, personalized equipment. Why not forge weapons, shields, or armor? The Micras are a race of magic crafters and blacksmiths, after all. Both Grandpa Luz and Ina laughed aloud hearing her words. Grandpa Luz smacked his own legs as he laughed, while Ina covered her mouth to stop herself from laughing. It finally stopped laughing when Grandpa Luz coughed his lungs out, prompting Ina to bring him a tankard of drinking water. It's not that we don't want to make weapons, shields, or armors. We're just not allowed to, Ina answered while rubbing Grandpa Luz's back. Why not? It's the law. Only the central towns are allowed to craft equipment of war. The fringe hamlets are only allowed to craft farm equipment and trinkets. We are also not allowed to hold weapons unless we are part of the border guards, and we are not allowed to bring our weapons home even when we are one of the guards. Not knowing this simple fact proves you're not from around here, Serena, Grandpa Luz chuckled. But why does the law forbid you from doing that? Serena asked. It's been like that since the Khafre Revolution. The revolutionists, they call themselves the unifiers these days, took over the Central Valley and made unreasonable demands. The rest of U.S. who didn't want to comply with their demands left the central cities and settled at the outskirts of the valley. What were their demands? Renounce Aelria and unite under the flag of the United Micran Kingdom. Excuse me. Renounce me? I created you ungrateful bastards. You're removing your creator now. Oh, this makes me rage. Serena could feel blood rushing to her head. If this was a Western cartoon, she would be blowing steam out of her ears. They were her creation, yet they pushed her away. Serena felt like punishing them with the Eighth Heaven's main cannon, like she had done to her enemies many times in the past. When she recalled Eighth Heaven, though, she started cooling down. She took a few deep breaths as her anger calmed down. She did play as Aelria in Aegeo. She did create the Micra as Aelria's minions. However, that was in Aegeo. When she arrived here, to this world in the game, she wasn't Aelria. She was just Serena, a normal 16-years-old schoolgirl. It was entirely possible that there was another Aelria in this world, the real Aelria, instead of the Aelria that she created as her avatar. Grandpa Luz took another gulp from his tankard. So that's how the numerous hamlets came to be. But after that, the central cities came to our hamlets with armies and demanded us to surrender all our weapons and forbade us from making weapons or other tools of war. And that's how we're reduced to making accessories and trinkets. But what can we do? We can't fight them. Ina shrugged. Didn't anyone resist when they took away your weapons and made that unreasonable demand? Of course, my father fought them, and they defeated him handily. It didn't even take more than 5 blows. My mother said they were too powerful. Their strength was unmatched. Their speed was faster than the eye could see, and their reflex was as good as a mountain lion. My father and the other residents were no match for them. We never fought them since. But Aelria did create the Micra to be strong, so that the Micra can hammer rare metals with ease. How could your father lose in less than 5 blows? You forgot, Serena. Ever since Aelria was slain, we as a race lost much of our power. That was why we had to run away from our homeland in the north. Even the great hero Los Rios could only fight at half his power as he fought to protect our race on our exodus through the plains, the rivers, the mountains, and the great swamp. But these soldiers, my mother told me they fought as if they still had the blessings of Aelria. No, they were probably stronger than Micras with Aelria's blessing. What makes you think that? Without saying anything, the old man Luz got to his feet. He walked up to the door, but when he couldn't hear either of them getting up, he gestured for Serena to follow him. They walked a fair distance up the mountain behind the cottage. Serena noticed that she had not run out of breath even once. If this was the world outside the game, she would have been wheezing by now. At her father's insistence, Serena enrolled at a nearby kendo dojo where she learned Shurnai and Naginata techniques, so she was slightly more fit than most schoolgirls. That, however, didn't give her the stamina and strength of a mountain climber. She deduced it must be the Micra's racial perk, Strength 7, fulfilling its purpose because just like her, Grandpa Luz also climbed the mountain with ease. This is where my father breathed his last breath. Grandpa Luz suddenly stopped while pointing at the ground. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Serena said, empathizing with his loss. That's not what I brought you here for, Serena. Then, look behind you. That was the one blow that killed my father. Serena turned around. Her eyes went wide at the evidence before her. It was a hole, a large, deep hole. A hole with walls so smooth all the way throughout, so deep that she could see the sky on the other side of the mount. Forget the Micras. Even the marble giants would find it hard to do this in one blow.